There's been a lot of talk about who raised a lot of money. And money is one of the gauges that you look at to determine how well a campaign is doing. And in the race, 90 times out of 100, the candidate with the most money wins the election. I mean, it didn't happen that way in 2016, though.
Then we must accept this result and then look to the future. Donald Trump is going to be our president.
Hillary still lost. But usually it happens. So anyway, so we're talking about earnings or what campaigns raked in the last quarter. Here goes a clip about them talking about Bernie Sanders' money that I think is very interesting, and you won't hear it on MSNBC or CNN.
Campaign stops all through the state holding the first contest in the race. Amy Klobuchar, Beto O'Rourke, Bernie Sanders among those holding events in Iowa today. As the new numbers in the race show the frontrunner Joe Biden slipping and Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris surging after the first debate. Peter Ducey live in Coralville, Iowa to break it all down for us there today. Hey, Peter.
Good morning, Bill. Bernie Sanders has also slipped in some of these recent polls, but his campaign just announced a few minutes ago he has not lost a step in the fundraising department, raising $24 million in the second quarter, including $6 million transferred from other accounts. The $24 million figure is almost identical to the splashy total Mayor Pete announced yesterday. And this is going to help the Sanders operation remain stable despite that slip in the polls, which is something the frontrunner has experienced as well. Because the last time Joe Biden came to Iowa, he had a double-digit lead nationally, and that has been wiped out, according to a CNN poll that shows Biden at just 22%. And now the contender who challenged him on stage in front of 18 million people, Kamala Harris, registers at 17%, just 5 points back of Biden and ahead of Warren and Sanders and Buttigieg.
Money counts. And Bernie Sanders raised a lot of money, $24 million. Pretty good. That's just right up there with Pete Buttigieg. But he did transfer $6 million of it from another account. But it's still money. He had it to transfer. Isn't that a good sign? A sign of liquidity, a sign of keeping up with the Joneses, a sign of having support. And let's keep it real, guys. If you're Bernie Sanders and you've already outraised Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris, and, you know, Elizabeth Warren's getting some donations now, that's great, but, I mean, people have been giving to Bernie all this time. Like, Elizabeth Warren's just getting started collecting donations, right? I mean, really? They're always trying to take credit away from Bernie Sanders. It's like they don't like the guy. I mean, if you go to Open Secrets right now, you'll see that Elizabeth Warren had a lot less money on hand than Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders had $17 million on hand and Elizabeth Warren had 11. Don't get me wrong, $11 million is a lot of money, but $17 million is more. Bernie's got like a 3-year, 4-year start. Like, I mean, he's got the money from when he ran in 2016, and he's got new money, and he's got more people. If you got more people and more individual donations, then you could probably get more money over a longer period of time. These are facts that people don't want to talk about. They were talking about Elizabeth Warren like she totally like dusted Bernie in the raising money category, leaving out once again that he's got way more money socked away than Elizabeth Warren or Kamala Harris or Buttigieg or anybody in this race. Everyone else is trying to catch up to Bernie Sanders. They don't want you to know that because perception is reality. Yeah, if you think Bernie's a loser, he becomes a loser. If you think Bernie's a winner, then he becomes a winner. So that's why the battle over information, the battle over the narrative is so important. That's why I fight the good fight every day, because I know it's important. $24 million is a lot of money. What I would do with 2 of it, I mean, for the show, I mean, for 10 Black Wolfpack stations across the country, citizen journalism, and all the other big ideas I have. They take money. But back to Bernie Sanders. Okay, so we got Bernie Sanders. He's fundraising. Bernie Sanders dealing with all these issues. Let's listen to Bernie Sanders talk a little bit with Andrea Mitchell about Joe Biden because everyone wants to talk about Joe Biden. And everybody's saying Joe Biden is that guy. And then there was the big dust up with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. I want to hear what Bernie has to say himself, just to see if we see eye to eye.
Joe Biden is still in the latest Washington Post ABC poll, is still leading all of you in the race against Donald Trump in that matchup. Is his apology this weekend in South Carolina good enough on the subject of his description of the segregationist senators he had worked with and also, of course, the busing issue?
Well, let me just say this, is that in poll after poll, we are also defeating Donald Trump, and I think most importantly in the battleground states of Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. I think all of the polls that I have seen have shown us to be ahead of Trump. I think that says that we have got to take the lead, that this campaign can beat Trump. And that's an important point that I think most Americans know. But in terms of Joe Biden, look, I think that, Joe has talked about his early days in the Senate when things were civil. But underneath that so-called civility, there was an incredible oppression and ugliness and attacks against the African American community. And, you see this when your Congress people are so nice. They're so civil. How are you? How is your family? And yet they are supporting efforts that literally terrorized 30, 40 years ago the African American community. So it is one thing to work with people, I do, of all political differences, but it is another thing to boast about a civility which really masks some very ugly policies.
Senator Bernie Sanders, as always, it's a pleasure, sir. Thank you for being with us. Good luck.
Ow. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wow, that's amazing. That's exactly what I was saying the other night. I was saying, hey, it's one thing to work with somebody on something that benefits disenfranchised people. It's another thing to work on something with questionable people that does not help disenfranchised people. Hey, dude, if you live near me or on my block and you got a Confederate flag, but if a house is on fire of a neighbor of ours and it's just you and I standing there and you say you're going with me and we can rescue a baby, we can go in there and rescue that baby. But I'm not going to go to your Klan rallies and then say, well, I'm reaching across the other side, and I'm not going to big up your Confederate flag or your slave memorabilia and overlook it when you call me the N-word. Nor will I overlook when you call Mexicans dirty names or gays or anyone else. Understand what I'm saying? The last thing I'm going to do is prop you up and say, this is what being civil is. See, some people are afforded civility when they're not the ones under attack. And I got a real problem with people who say, I'm progressive, supporting civility to the detriment of people like me and other disenfranchised people. But hey, it's this thing. But anyway, I like the way Bernie put that. Hey. See, everyone's trying to remake history and make it seem like it's just, everybody be nice. Everybody play nice. And once again, this is Joe Biden, unforced error Joe Biden. He brought it up. He was on the campaign trail. He was on fundraisers talking about, hey, I work with anybody, even segregationists. That's how this got started. Running his mouth. I got a little bit more Bernie Sanders. And this is weird, but I think it needs to be added because it's Bernie talking about Elizabeth Warren. And there's something here that Bernie says. It's the way he says it. I want to see if you catch it. Because I think Bernie Sanders is sprinkling some facts.
Senator, what do you make of Elizabeth Warren's rise in the polls? Do you see that as a threat to
Well,
your
we're doing
progressive
pretty well as well. Elizabeth is a friend of mine. She's running a good campaign. I'm proud of what we are doing, and I'm proud. What I would just also say is that I am very proud that many of the ideas that Democratic candidates are now talking about weren't talked about 3 or 4 years ago.
But
you
you
know?
see her as a
Okay.
threat to your
Yeah. I'm wondering if people caught that. It was so short. You know, it was like a gotcha question, like, "Hey, what do you think about Elizabeth Warren catching you in the polls? She's doing really well." He said, "Well, Elizabeth Warren she's doing really well, and I've known her for many years." And he bigs her up. He says something positive about Elizabeth Warren, and then he kind of switches and he says, "Well, it's really great to see people coming up with new ideas that people didn't talk about 3 years ago." Because remember, Bernie Sanders gave birth to all of these ideas that people are kind of splintering off, and now they're kind of running on it, acting as if they were vanguards of Medicare for all, vanguards for some type of tuition-free college or something like that. Like Bernie gave birth to that. And really what these guys doing are biting his style. We can, in rap, that's like the worst thing you could do is bite somebody's style. In comedy, stand-up comedy, worst thing you can do is bite someone's jokes, bite somebody's rhymes.
Here's my plan. Here's the deal. I have the biggest anti-corruption plan since Watergate. But we got a plan and we're going to take it on head on. This is a call for real plans to make real changes in our lives and in our communities. And yes, I have a plan for that.
Bottom line is, there's a lot of joke stealing and a lot of rhyme biting and a lot of policy peddling or policy thievery. A lot of revolution smoke screens and a lot of that going on right now. But I'm just thinking that bothers me. I think some people just don't understand it. They can't see through it. They just now they turn on the TV and they're in the middle of a movie. They don't know what happened before they sat down, and they just believe that guy or that woman is an honest actor.
Kamala Harris of California.
Thank you, Bernie. Well, I'm honored to stand with my colleagues and be in a room full of leaders. And this is a moment in time that I think we know is a very significant moment in time for our country, where we, all of us, are standing up and saying, let's just do what's right. You've heard so many folks talk about it because we know it. Listen, no baby is born in America born as a Democrat or a Republican.
But just what if they are not an honest actor? What if they are part of the problem? What if they're full of What if?